Hello, everyone. Welcome to Adventures in Good Health, a weekly podcast where we explore natural approaches to the good life. And in that, I'm talking about good health. I am your host and aspiring herb geek, David Maloof. Today, our deep dive topic is inflammation. We are going to learn about how inflammation affects our bodies, what can trigger it, and the possible actions we can take to mitigate it. And then we'll walk on over to Doc's Herbal Corner, where we'll discuss ginseng. Now, I have heard of ginseng and I know a little bit about it, but I'm really looking forward to learning more, and I think our guest has a lot to say about the herb. This podcast is sponsored by Dr. Tates, Herbal Tinctures and Tonics. And while we will mention the tonics if they are relevant to the conversation, this podcast is not an infomercial. We are discussing a wide range of topics, but I wanted you to know who is sponsoring the show. Let's get started. Today, I am joined by naturalist, master herbalist, nutritionist, detox specialist, lifestyle consultant, author, and diplomat of integrated medicine, Dr. Stephen Tates. Dr. Tates, thank you again for joining our podcast.
Thank you. I enjoy being on this podcast.
So we're going to jump right in. Inflammation. What are we dealing with here?
Fasten your seatbelts.
Here we go.
Okay. Now, there are two forms of inflammation. One form actually is good for us, okay? And it may sound strange, but inflammation is a central part of our healing process. When an area of body gets inflamed, sometimes it helps in the healing process. That's when we sprain our ankle or we pull the muscle, or something like that, and it swells up. That swelling is aggravating, but without the swelling, it would have cut off the blood flow. And if it cut off the blood flow, then you got a different problem. Blood flow is slowed down because of the inflammation, but it's a natural body response to an injury.
Okay.
In an area. I got a sprain, a pulled muscle, something like that. So that inflammation also helps the body in its healing process. So that swelling has a positive aspect. Short term, because you want to reduce the inflammation. But if you sprain your ankle and it doesn't swell, that's going to create more damage.
Okay.
And so that's the positive aspect. But now comes the other more disruptive aspect. Okay. One of the problems that happens with poor circulation, poor bowel movement, bad diet, foods that are inflammatory, we end up having what is called inflammation in the body or swelling in the body. And this swelling affects the fluid flow. It's like a blockage, okay? And it affects the blood flow, the urinary tract flow, the glandular flow. Okay? And when it does that, then there ends up being a backup. Inflammation can contribute to swelling in the prostate. Oh, yeah. Men, we don't want to hear that. Okay. Inflammation can contribute to swelling around any of our organs, the liver, the kidneys, the heart, the lungs. Then that affects the functions of that particular area of the body. Okay? So then you need to look at things that will reduce the inflammation and not contribute to the inflammation. But inflammation building up in the body, it's not like that healing inflammation that I started off with.
Right.
Okay.
The good inflammation.
The good inflammation. It is that inflammation that has been building for months and months and years. Arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, All these things are inflammatory conditions. Gout has that inflammation, and then pain comes with that inflammation. Gas builds up, because when the gas, that's inflammation. That's fluid retention is pushing on the body.
Okay.
And pushing on the nerves in the body, which will contribute to pain. You got what's called prostatitis, which is an inflamed prostate.
Okay.
Okay. Which is affecting the blood flow. Erectile dysfunction. You hear that now? Erectile dysfunction, ED. One of the problems is the blood is not flowing the way it needs to because of a poor diet of very high inflammatory foods, not exercise, not drinking enough water. Stress and anxiety can build inflammation in our system faster than anything we can do physically for the body, and it accelerates the breakdown in the body because it creates those kind of blockages, which then contributes to pain in the body. And so we want to look at reducing that inflammation. Give some more examples again. I mentioned diet, poor circulation, constipation, which is going to be one of our,
that's an upcoming podcast. Deep dive.
All by itself. It builds inflammation, which affects bowel movement. I mentioned stress and anxiety. Certain foods like fried foods, sugars, sodas affect system, causing inflammation, which creates immune deficiencies. So the body has a difficulty in doing its natural healing process because of the inflammation based again on our lifestyle.
So is it that these toxins based on lifestyle and what we're eating or what we're drinking, it's building up in our body?
Yeah, creating blockages like the highway is jammed.
Is it something like the body is trying to fight that? Is it
the body's trying to move that out?
Okay.
And because it can't move it out or move it out effectively, there's a backup on the highway. Okay, and that backup on the highway and our body is inflammation. And that inflammation can get deep into our system. It can get around our joints, and that inflammation can cause excruciating pain, like I mentioned, the RA and stuff. The gout, which is inflammation, and that inflammation tends to build more acids and uric acid in the system. That uric acid will contribute to gout. And as it contributes to the gout, then you have that pain in the nerves in the body, because it creases those sharp little crystals like knives that are stabbing in your toes or in your hand. I've seen people that have had inflammation where they could not bend their hands and make a fist or to be able to hold a cup of water. Okay, we can say that that's contributed to by diet. We can stress, poor circulation, but that inflammation limits the movement of the body. Another example is diabetics, okay, that the inflammation has affected their blood flow, especially around their extremities, and especially around their toes. And then when the inflammation gets stuck long enough, then there's no blood flow. And if there's no blood flow from inflammation, then that particular digit dies, which is why with people with diabetes that are not watching what they're eating, getting that blood moving, getting the exercise, and stay away from the stuff that contributes to clogging the body and contributing to more inflammation, ends up with an area of the body just shriveling up and dying. And
so basically what you were just saying, what they were eating, their lifestyle habits, it sounds like that we do have a considerable amount of control over our own health, including inflammation.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are environmental situations, perhaps there's genetic situations, but you're saying that we, through lifestyle, diet, through our own natural approaches to good health, we control our lives.
Yeah, we control it. And that goes into one of those natural approaches that we talked about in the first podcast. Okay?
Right.
But we didn't get it into in detail. But I'm going to outline it because it kind of fits in. Our body has the ability to cleanse, heal, and rebuild itself indefinitely, provided we give it the right things and not the wrong thing. But when we give the body the wrong thing, and sometimes people just don't know. They grew up eating a certain way. The family ate a certain way. When you see some people where the mother and father are heavy, and you can look at the line of children going down, they're all heavy because they're following the same lifestyle that their parents had, which, creates obesity and stuff. And that's swelling. Gas building in the body, especially in the middle of the body, has to deal with the problem with inflammation. Okay? And part of the healing process, or part of getting the body to the point of trying to heal itself, is by trying to reduce the inflammation. That goes into the exercise and water, watching what you eat. Because you have to reduce the blockage, which is that inflammation, in order to get things to move, in order to help things start to heal. Okay? And too much of it is in our diet. And in stress and anxiety that contributes to that inflammation. Lack of water comes in, lack of exercise, but we can store it in our body. There is no disease or chronic sickness that doesn't have inflammation as part of the problem. It's more symptomatic of the problem. It just doesn't, the body just not just sitting up there bored. It's like, let's inflame around the kidneys. For no reason at all. The body doesn't work that way. It's, the inflammation is started because what we put in our body and what we do and how it clogs the body is contribute to that inflammation. And most people that are listening will have some kind of inflammation or know somebody that's suffering with inflammation as a symptom. Inflammation is not the cause.
It's a symptom.
It's a symptom. It's a contributing factor because we're not doing the right things for the body. So we can't say, I don't know why it became inflamed, or swollen. Well, you need to look back at how you live your life, because that's what caused that clogging, poor circulation, constipation, build up of stress and anxiety. And one of the byproducts of that is that inflammation. And then when you're dealing with food, some of the things that will contribute to it is the same things we talked about originally in the first podcast. Fried food, sugar, sodas, and all these types of things, red meat, processed meats, processed meats like, bologna and bacon and sausages. I know I'm stepping on some toes.
I was going to say, that sounds like some pretty good tasting stuff right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know I'm stepping on some people's toes. But see, when we eat, even with these things that can contribute to it, most of us don't eat in moderation. Sometimes we eat to excess, and when we do that, that contributes to that problem even faster. So
we kind of get into like habits, eating habits.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like it's a piece of bacon. It's that we enjoy 2 or 3 pieces of bacon or 4 or 5 pieces of bacon and multiple times per week. And we overdo it.
Yeah, we overdo it because you can get away with, I had me some bacon last week. Earlier in
you had
week.
You had a piece of bacon?
No, not me.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
No. If I eat some bacon, I've been a vegetarian for over half a century.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If I eat some bacon, you might as well put an ambulance, up next to me. Matter of fact, you might as well put me in the ambulance, drive me to the hospital while I'm eating the bacon.
Oh, my goodness.
Because my body would react to it as what it is, as a poison. The cleaner you get your system, the more the body will react violently to the things that you've always been eating because it's trying to cleanse, trying to protect yourself. Now, I've read where inflammation can cause chronic diseases, heart diseases, diabetes, obesity, Alzheimer's disease, fatty liver, a prostate problem, anxiety that can contribute to heart attacks in the system. But I have a problem for that because, they say that this is the cause. No, this is a symptom, that has been built because we're not taking care of the body right. Okay? You're going to say, it's that inflammation. I tell people, well, where the inflammation come from? I don't know. So why are you blaming inflammation? It's a side effect of us not living our body right. Gas in our body and causing the bloating. We're not supposed to have that kind of gas or bloating in our system. It's caused by, some of it by inflammation, but what we put in our body.
So ideally, if someone in our audience is suffering from inflammation, and
part of the symptom,
and they want to take a natural approach to be part of their overall good health, it's going to be tough to just, say, oh, well, take this herb or take that herb. Is that where a naturopath would come into play?
That's where a naturopath and herbalist, which, as that's my day job.
Yeah, that's your day job.
And night job sometimes, to guide people because, the kind of foods people have to get away from, you're used to, and there's addictive nature to that. If you're on a lot of sweets, a lot of sodas or fried foods, and that's part of your diet, you trying to cold turkey just is not going to work. So a lot of times I take people through a weaning off process. And while I'm doing the weaning off process, I'm recommending things that will help to wean, like the water and the exercise, like the tonics, to help the blood circulation and the blood cleansing and to help remove stuff that will cut down on the addictive nature of stuff you've been eating all the time. The beauty of the internet is that calling the right people is you can start to understand what is inflammatory food and what are anti-inflammatory food. There's like three compartments. You got the severe inflammatory food. Then you got the foods that's anti-inflammatory. Then you have food that's in a gray area, depending on what you're eating. Like all animal products can cause inflammation, but beef and pork are the worst because it can cause excessive inflammation.
So those are kind of the foods you just recommend just staying away from.
Well, I try to make it easier for people. So if somebody is a meat eater, which is 3/4 of the people that I see when they come in the door,
right.
And they're eating every kind of meat, they got roadkill. Oh, there's some, shoot it, bring it home, let's cook it, let's pull the feathers off it. I try to get people to decrease the things, one that may be the easiest for them to decrease first, or the things that are going to be the most toxic. I've been a vegetarian for over half a century. I don't try to make people vegetarians. I try to get them to eat more consciously. Yeah, vegetarian diet is the best diet, but sometimes I'll start off with, look, instead of frying your food, which, makes for a very high inflammatory rate in your body, then bake it, broil it, steam it, barbecue it. I don't care. Just move away from the frying. Sometimes.
All right. So frying in excess is just not a good thing.
So you look at alternative. Another thing could be you're eating all meat. So can we get away from the pork and beef and you're doing more grain-fed chicken, and freshwater fish, as part of your transformation.
Taking control of your own good health.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's the source of something. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast about things like bologna and salami, and a sliced turkey and all that kind of stuff. People are like, but I love that stuff. Well, sometimes the transition is not getting the packaged turkey or the packaged chicken slices, but going to the deli. Now, is that perfect? No, but that's a major step because the packaged stuff has got nitrates and sulfates in there that guess what it causes? Inflammation, along with clogging the system. So you go to the deli, give me a quarter pound of this, half a pound of that. I'm not going to say it's the best approach. I'm going to say it's extremely safer because the package has so many things in it that will cause inflammation. When you're eating too many foods that are canned foods, then there's going to be inflammation with that. Okay. Oh, I got canned beans. I'm storing up on canned beans. There's exceptions to the rule, but I'm storing up on canned beans. Oh, the shelf life is 5 years. Okay. What did they put in there? And what's that going to do to the body? Mm-hmm. And then how much of the clogging and side effects that exist? I tell people that are addicted to sugar, especially white sugar, move to raw brown sugar, eventually move to honey, eventually start to decrease, start to make those kinds of changes. Cold turkey doesn't work. And it does not work for most people because they may last for a little while and that addictive thing will kick in, especially people who do a lot of salt, sodas, and sugar. And I will kid around with some people sometimes when they talk about their sugarholic and they're trying to wean off the sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Trying to cold turkey off sugar. I mean,
your body is addicted to it. I mean, it hurts.
I mean,
if you try to just stop.
Next thing they know, they're holding the Pillsbury Doughboy as hostage to he brings
right.
some sweet, and it's an out of control thing. A lot of people, don't have control over. So when I'm talking about this as a theme, people say, "Well, what do I do?" You look up the anti-inflammatory. You'll find some things that you thought were okay in vegetables and fruits that will contribute to inflammation, especially your nightshade kinds of vegetables like your eggplants and tomatoes and stuff. So those things like tomatoes need to be in moderation, especially if your body's really, really inflamed. So some things you say, well, this is natural, but it's high in inflammation. And then there's foods that you should stay away from or start to wean away from. Then there's the middle ground, like freshwater salmon, or tuna, especially in water,
mm-hmm.
haddock or perch. I'm not a meat eater or fish eater and stuff, but those are a whole lot safer and less inflammatory than the beef and pork. So a lot of times you're making those changes. Then you season with herbs like turmeric and garlic and curry and oregano.
So, and those are, I mean, when you think of herbs, there's a difference between medicinal herbs
mm-hmm.
and culinary herbs.
Some.
But
see, most of your culinary herbs have medicinal qualities to them. So your turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. Your black pepper mixed with the turmeric is a very powerful anti-inflammatory, not only in capsules but sprinkled on your food. Your cayenne pepper, helps with circulation, high in vitamin C, and you're using that as a seasoning. So many of your seasoning herbs are therapeutic for the body, the same as stuff that you're making a tea and stuff with. So if I got some fish, not me, but maybe you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got some salmon.
I enjoy fish.
Yeah, got some salmon. It says moderately inflammatory. But then you add in the anti-inflammatory seasoning, then it cuts through and helps neutralize a lot of the potential inflammation, unless you fry it. Because if you fry it, it's a done deal. You can bury it in turmeric and stuff. Not going to make any difference.
All right. Are you ready to walk on over to Doc's Herbal Corner?
You mean what?
Yeah, here we go. There we are walking.
How you about run?
Oh, we're going to run on over to Doc's Herbal Corner.
Yeah, we're going to go over there. We're going to be talking about one of my absolute favorite herbs.
All right.
Okay.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah. And that's ginseng.
Ginseng.
Oh, my body's unique. My body just loves ginseng. You know, it's like I put that in my body. My body's like, oh man, this is just like, wow. And ginseng is considered one of the king of herbs because of its uniqueness. There are different kinds. There's Panax, there's red ginseng, there's white ginseng, there's Siberian ginseng. There are different forms of ginseng roots, there's ginseng tea, there's ginseng extract. We're talking about the ginseng either in root form or in the tea form, maybe even in the capsule form. Okay? It is a phenomenal rebuilder of a body just crashed and burned and everything in between. It's high in vitamins, minerals, amino acids, natural steroids in the system. It's designed to slow down the aging in the body. You know, it is designed to help balance the chemical and hormone balance in the system. It helps lower blood sugar. It helps with things like cholesterol, diabetes, sexual dysfunctions. Of course, because everybody hear about ginseng. Oh, it's going to help ED. It's going to help the prostate and stuff. Yeah, it helps. You don't drink any water, you're still screwed.
Yeah.
Okay, so it still goes back to that. But it helps rebuild the testosterone level. But it's balanced because some people say, well, women can't take ginseng because of the testosterone level. But no, the ginseng is very, very balanced. Okay, so women can. But there's certain types of ginseng that are more geared towards gender. Siberian and an American ginseng is more, has more of an affinity for women, where Korean and Chinese and Russian ginseng has more of an affinity to men.
So there's different types of ginseng then.
Oh, yeah.
And they do different things.
They do different things. There's a different grades and different locations for ginseng, okay? And different colors. Now, if you're dealing with ginseng from different levels, there's white ginseng, there's imperial ginseng, there's black ginseng, there's different types of ginseng, okay, and from different areas, okay. But Korean and Chinese, very, very high in testosterone. But the thing is that there's always precautions in almost everything. Korean and Chinese ginseng is excellent, but if you have high blood pressure problems, you can't take ginseng. The reason being is because ginseng, Korean and Chinese ginseng, very, very stimulating. I mean, it boosts the energy. You know, I've been up in marathon, I'd be sucking on ginseng root, you know, and it keeps me going. If I had blood pressure, I could not do that because those forms of ginseng is heat producing. And it will excite the body, which is okay if my body is not overheated and excited anyways, especially from high blood pressure. Whereas American and Siberian are cooling ginseng. Can men take American ginseng? Yeah, there's enough testosterone in it. And women take Korean or Chinese? Yes, because there's enough estrogen, you know, in it. So it doesn't really damage, because men would say, no, you're a woman. You can't take Korean and Chinese. Yeah, you can if you're a woman. It's just understanding the different grades, the different types of things. Now, here's an interesting thing with it. And it's to show you how potent it is. Typically, when you go into a shop, like a shop in Chinatown or something like that, they will sell you the 6, 7, 8-year-old ginseng root. And a ginseng root that's over 100 years old is extremely, extremely powerful and extremely, extremely expensive.
Well, when you say it's 100 years old, you mean it's been in the ground for 100 years growing, or it's been in, or it was harvested at some point and it's been
harvested at some point, and over time, just the root itself will age.
Okay.
Implemented with the water and the exercise, it reduces inflammation. It helps with memory. It helps with energy. It helps strengthen our nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's just an overall special herb. You know, it's really, really special. And people don't write enough about it. I got material on that. And it's one of those type of herbs that has an effect on every single area in your body. There's very few herbs that have that. I mean, your liver has a positive effect. Your kidneys, your heart, your brain, your lungs, your spleen, your pancreas, you know, your prostate area,
Mm-hmm.
and your circulation. It's one of those panics kind of ginseng, which basically, that terminology means it's just basically an analgesic, it's called as well, that has an effect on every area of the body. You know, and there's nothing on the planet that I know of that has more effects on every area of your body from head to toe than ginseng.
Well, Doc, we went a little over,
I know.
but that was extremely informative. I got a question. How can people reach you?
Okay, you can give me a call. The cover numbers. You want to get me directly, 404-943-1171. That's the number they want to get me when they want to deal with their health.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to find out more about the tonics and the tonic industry that's, this podcast is being sponsored with, that means they can call me, but the best number to call will be 404-459-8696 when you want to talk about a tonic. But when you want to talk about your health, then you call that other number. But if you get one number and you can't remember the other one, you can say what you want, and we can direct you to wherever you need to go.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for our next podcast. And now a quick word about our sponsor, Dr. Tates Herbal Tinctures and Tonics. Dr. Tates all natural herbal formulas, which are the true definition of herbal tonics, have been available for over 20 years. These specially formulated herbal tonics are designed to help cleanse, heal, rebuild, and revitalize your body, which will help improve your overall health. Dr. Tates offers the Herbal Blood Tonic, Doc's Detox, Herbal Fat Burner, Herbal Female Tonic, and Herbal Male Tonic. If you would like to learn more about the tonics and where to pick up your bottle, call 404-459-8696 or visit drtates.online. That's drtates.online. Or simply Google Dr. Tates Herbal Tinctures and Tonics, and you will find a ton of information about the tonics on the internet. That does it for this episode of Adventures in Good Health, and we would like to hear from you regarding this podcast and any suggestions you have for future podcasts. You can reach us at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe and leave a rating or a review. Until next week, this is David Maloof exploring natural approaches to good health.